Let's have a look at this interesting question. So what is the mathematical message in this equation? Okay, let me start by asking the question, can you take a square root of minus 1? Well, I can. The square root of minus 1 is called I, which is an imaginary number in mathematics. These imaginary numbers were once thought to be impossible, and so they were called imaginary, just to make fun of them. It was when people researched about them, they found them to be very useful and very important as they filled in a gap in mathematics. By then, imaginary name was so popular, and hence we can just call this imaginary number I. Next, it is 1 over x. 1 over x is a reciprocal graph that looks like this one, where basically the value of y is the multiplicative inverse of the x value. So this results in a curve having two separate branches in opposite quadrants. That looks like an L. If we can now move the L to the box over here, we now have two letters. Next, it is this expression, x squared plus y squared. So this expression is typically a part of an equation of a circle, like this. Usually, it is something like x squared plus y squared equals r squared, with a center of 0, 0, with a radius of r. So the letter O comes from the shape being a circle. If we can now move the letter O to the box, like this. So next, it is this modulus function of minus 2x. And the graph of the modulus function takes an absolute value. So it looks like this. All this means is all the negative values in the original function are reflected across the x-axis, causing them to look like a V shape. So the function consists of two straight lines that meet at a vertex. If we can now move the V to the box, like this. Next, it is minus 3, the absolute value of sine y. So here, if we can now focus only on the absolute value of sine y, it takes the output of the sine function and makes it positive. So the sine function normally oscillates between minus 1 and 1. If we now talk about the multiplication by minus 3, it takes the positive values from the absolute value function and makes them negative. So we end up with a graph like this one. So the function minus 3 absolute value of sine y will thus oscillate between minus 3 and 0. So this gives us an E shape. If we now move the E shape to our box, we now have I love pie more than chocolate. How fun was that? That's the message.